What is up, everybody? It's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video. And today I'm going to be kind of sharing a little bit what it's like to be an actual ride operator. Being a ride operator is a lot of fun, and it's also a big responsibility as well because you're ensuring the safety of guests and everyone that is visiting your ride or attraction and everything. So as of today, I've worked only 2 different roller coasters. I've operated Outlaw Run and I've operated Time Traveler, and they're very different when it comes to operating, and at the same time they still have some similarities as well. So sit back, hold on to your restraints, buckle those seatbelts, put your hands up if you want to, if you dare, and let's go through a journey of my career as a ride operator. So starting out, I worked at Outlaw Run. I remember when I first applied for the job, and there was an opening for Outlaw Run when I first applied. So I immediately went to Outlaw Run. This was back in 2013 when the ride first opened back in June of 2013, and I got my interviews done, and it was done. It was done after that. I just graduated high school. You can imagine 18-year-old Joe. You have to be 18 years to operate a ride. You can start working in foods as early as like 14, 15 years old or something like that. So you can start very early in an amusement park. But as for operating rides or safety critical spots, you have to at least be 18 years of age. So I just I'd almost been 18 for a year at that point. But anyways, I got onto the ride and got my training done, which took about 3 to 4 days. So we do training, so the way it works, we go in and you have designated trainers, signed off trainers. So you have your leadership, you have your team members, you have operators, etc. There's kind of like a different level. So first off, you have your lead position. This is the person that's in charge of the ride in total. They're in charge of the entire team. They're not necessarily a supervisor, but they are in charge of the whole entire team. So we had a lead, which is in charge of everyone. So they pretty much take care of most of the paperwork and different stuff like that. And then we have our PIC, which stands for person in charge. They are second in charge and command. So if the lead is absent, they pretty much become the lead. So if the lead had a day off or anything like that, the PIC would be in charge. So they would be next up on the board, and then third, we would have a safety trainer, which is pretty much just a regular trainer, and if the lead and PIC are both gone, they become in charge, So these are your leadership positions, as they called them, and you had pretty much those main 3 positions. And so when I first came in, I was just a regular team member. I didn't do anything. I was not a trainer or anything like that my first year. My first year, I literally was just a team member, or host, as we call them today. So when I first came on and everything, I got trained by the lead and PIC. So those leadership positions, they are our trainers. So if you're a safety trainer, PIC, or lead, you are a trainer on the ride. So you're authorized to train the new hires and new people that come in. So every single year, everyone does have to get re-signed as well. So once you go through an off season, before we start the season back up, we have to go through various training and get re-signed. So if you're a new sign, it takes longer to get signed off. If you're a re-sign, it's about half the time to get signed off. So I was a completely new sign in 2013, and what I did was literally just check restraints, seatbelts, and get people on the ride. They don't put you right up at the operator spot right away. You start out just on dock, so you're one of the 4 people on dock, or 2 people, however many, depending on how many trains are running. You don't start out at operator. Operator comes later if they feel that you're capable enough, because operator is a very responsible spot. You have all the controls to the ride up there and everything like that. It's a huge responsibility. When you go down, you have to know exactly what you're doing. Got to know exactly everything what you need to do. There's a big process that comes into that. Evacuations, everything like that. You got to know exactly what to do. So during the off season, we usually do a mock evacuation, and what that means is we'll get a lot of workers from other rides and stuff, or anywhere else. They'll get on the ride. We'll purposely stop it on the lift hill or launch, depending on what ride we're on, and we will perform a mock evacuation, practicing getting guests off of the train and walking them back down to the station. So it's a really good training to do. My first year I didn't get to do that. I didn't come in the off season. I came in during the season. So what we did was sometimes you get training on evacuation, sometimes you don't. And if you get signed off and you haven't done a mock evacuation, usually there'll be someone there to help you on your first one to kind of walk you through it a little bit. They'll train you even though you've already been signed off, if that makes sense. That way you feel more comfortable doing it and everything. So I didn't get to do that until I actually think I had an evacuation while I was training, so it ended up being okay because I actually got to perform evacuation while I was still in the training process. So after I got trained and everything, they don't sign you off until they know you're ready. So I got signed off. I was ready to go. I went through my entire first year at Outlaw Run just on dock as a team member, and it was quite exciting. I had a lot of fun, and being at a new ride, you always have the exclusive ride times for like coaster enthusiasts. Like Theme Park Review, I think, came one night, and they got all this exclusive ride time for like 3 hours with them the only ones being there. Different things like that. It was a lot of fun. Usually during the end of the season or the off season, we actually will go underneath the lift and actually sign the wood. We'll actually sign our name with a Sharpie, so we can actually sign the ride itself. I always usually do that. We'll even, during the off-season, we'll go up the lift and hang out at the top for a while. Only during the off-season we usually do this, and then we'll sign our names up there as well. I think one year I actually signed JW Games or something. It was actually kind of funny, but it was kind of interesting and cool as well. But I really enjoyed my first year. I was very quiet at first. I didn't really talk to guests that often, but after I got into it a little bit, it opened me up a little bit. And then going into the second season, in 2014 for Outlaw Run, my lead approached me saying, "Hey, do you want to be an operator this year?" And I said, "Heck yeah, I want to be an operator." So I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So through that year, I actually got signed off at operator, which is actually 10 hours of training up there. So you have to go through 10 hours of training up at operator before they can sign you off. On dock, it's only like 3 full hours. That's only the minimum requirements. We obviously do longer than that if we feel that the trainer or the trainee needs more training. But then I got up at operator in my second season, and I absolutely loved it. Pushing the buttons, different things, stuff like that. So I went through my 2014 season. At the end of that season, our PIC moved on to another ride, and I was like, okay, so maybe I should apply for leadership. So as our PIC, I would be skipping safety trainer, mind you. So I went in for the interview. I didn't get it the first time. At the end of that year, someone else did, which was totally okay. It was my first time applying for a leadership spot. I didn't have any previous leadership experience, so I can understand why that would be. I performed very well my second season, so I got a lot of praise. And then our PIC that took that spot actually ended up leaving by the off season, so it opened up again by the off season. So I went for a second time, got the PAIC spot that time, and into the 2015 season, we also had a new lead at the time as well. So it was my first year going in as a leadership role, and I had to train for the first time, which is kind of interesting. I had a little bit of a quiet start and figuring all that stuff out, but after I got into it, I got very comfortable working on as a leadership, because in leadership, even though I was second in charge, even if the lead was there, I still had to solve problems if there was any friction between the team, different stuff like that, which thankfully didn't happen all that much my first season. I'm glad it didn't. My second season, a little bit, but we're not going to go into any of that. And it was a lot of fun learning experience for me. So going into 2016, that's when, again, I was still PIC, and we got a new lead and everything. I believe by then, Yeah, we got a new lead because our last lead ended up going up to the office into a supervisor position who became our supervisor. So it was kind of interesting that the lead that I was above me ended up being my supervisor now. So kind of a cool thing. And then everything was cool then, and 2016 went through. I think I actually did apply for the lead spot then, and I didn't get it that year. Someone else did it. I did, but it was totally okay because I loved the lead that we got that season. It's all fun, it's all thing. You got to get your name out there somehow, and didn't get it that year, but that was all right. So 2016 went through as the PIC, and then I actually took over towards the end of the year to be in charge for most of the time because our lead actually ended up having cancer, which was really sad and everything. He ended up passing away like literally last year, so it was kind of a tough spot for me because I ended up having to take the charge doing all the lead responsibilities as a PIC. So I was pretty much being the lead, but not without the title. So I had to do schedules, I had to do all that stuff because the lead actually does the schedules for everyone and everything. So it was a really good learning experience for me, and as tragic as that was, it did help me become a bigger leader in what I was doing then. So as 2017 rolled around, I was able to apply for the lead position, and I did have a lot of lead experience towards the end of that season, which helped me out a lot because unfortunately our lead was unable to go into that season due to the condition that he was in. So it opened up, and I was able to take that lead spot going in, and I was the lead of Outlaw Run starting in 2017 for that season. So that was kind of a fun experience. Another great year. We had a lot of cool stuff. I will say the second year in 2014, they added seatbelts, which really killed our capacity, and it was a lot more difficult to get higher numbers. But with that being said, 2017 went by, and then that's when the hype for the new ride was being talked about. Time Traveler. They teased saying, if you really want to be on this team, you better perform this season. So I made sure I performed well in 2017, and they saw it. So they knew what they were doing, and my supervisor was also going to be the supervisor of Time Traveler as well. The supervisors are usually over 2 to 3 rides or somewhere around there, sometimes even more. But and then Time Traveler was announced, and then late that season, they were taking applications for the Time Traveler crew. I applied for the lead position, and there was another lead that was really, really doing good. Like, he was probably just above me because he was the lead of Wildfire, and he was doing so good, and I knew that it was going to be a good competition for me, but he ended up getting the senior lead position. They opened up a senior team lead, which is pretty much above the lead spot, and they're usually above 2 rides or something, and they do mostly like paperwork, schedules, and they do capacity. They do everything up in the office, and occasionally will be in slot, but the lead position is the one that kind of takes care of the ride, and that's what I was applying for. So that's what I ended up getting. I did get the lead of Time Traveler, which I was very excited for, with that other lead accepting the team or senior team lead. So I had him above me, but at the same time, it was still my ride because I'm responsible taking care of the ride and everything like that, pretty much. So we had a PIC, we had a safety trainer, we had everything. It was a very exciting going into the off season of 2017, going into 2018, because we had Time Traveler was just starting up, and you really going into it, you kind of get to the feel of it, and we kind of get to try different things to see what we can do to make the operations as smooth as possible. It's always interesting opening up a new ride and working on it because they don't know how it's going to turn out. Operations wise, it's a work in progress throughout the year. They change different things. A lot of changes happen throughout the year, but we got through them pretty well. And one of the biggest things was the lap restraints check themselves, right? And you push the button, the restraints lower down on their own, and then we push and hold the button. It will start the restraint check where the bars will kind of push up a little bit. It kind of freaks guys out sometimes, but you have to tell them, like, it's okay, the bars are checking, it's supposed to do that. So, and then after the light goes back to slow blinking, push it again, it locks them into place. So, and then it's done. There's no physical restraint check, but it's all automated. If any of that fails, it will throw an error on the panel and it won't allow you to do anything after that. Everything has to be working perfectly well before the ride decides, hey, this is good to send the train out. So when we're doing the restraint check, all we're looking for is to make sure none of those bars pop up. And if they do, it's going to throw an error on the panel. And if they do, we still have to report it and everything like that. It's never really happened before. But if it does, that's what we have to do, get maintenance in here, and then they'll figure it out from there. It's kind of like Outlaw Run as well. When there's no power to the car, which when it rolls out of the station, there's no power, the restraints cannot come up. So it's pretty much impossible. So you don't have to worry about that. So that first year of Time Traveler was very interesting, very awesome. I had a lot of fun working at that ride. It was a lot of fun. And I got 353 rides on it throughout the entire year. Being a ride operator, I get to do ride-throughs and different things like that. The control panel on that, it's a little bit more advanced than Outlaw Run. It was a 12-hour sign-off, which was interesting. Off-season was always interesting for Time Traveler because they were still working on the ride. They were still doing some last-minute programming, and they were still working on the building on the inside. So when we got run the ride, it was kind of interesting because it was still kind of under construction in a way. It didn't have clear to have riders at the time, so we're running empty trains the entire time until we finally got the day where, like, yeah, go ahead and hop on. It's been clear to have riders. So it's got to get passed by like all the states and state stuff and everything like that before anyone can actually hop on. So we were so anxious because we were running the ride, but we couldn't ride it yet. So it was kind of interesting and fun. And my favorite position was unload station because Time Traveler actually has an unload station. It's the only coaster that has an unload station at Silver Dollar City. Pretty much, you had your load station where everyone would get on, and then behind it is the unload station where people would get off at a different location. It kind of helped with capacity, and just that way people don't have to wait for people to get off when they're getting on. It's already empty. So you'd have a PA system, and I'd just be like, "Welcome back, travelers. How was your ride?" It was a lot of fun. Anyways, that year went by, and then Outlaw Run didn't do so well the year before. Or this last season either. They had some issues where I think they could only run one train as well, and different things like that, and their numbers have been down, so they've asked me to come back to Outlaw Run for this season. I'm very excited too, because, I mean, hey, look at it. It's beautiful. Yeah, and that's kind of like how my career has gone so far. They're having me come back to Outlaw Run to be the lead there. I'll occasionally go to Time Traveler if they ever need my help. I'm still going to get signed off over there. It's been a very fun ride, and again, if you're looking at being an operator and you want to have fun, you'll definitely have fun doing it, but you also have to pay attention and really stay focused the entire time on what you're doing. You don't want to have any safety violations on your belts. Thankfully, I have not had any safety violations through my entire career as an operator, so I've never missed anything that would cause anyone to get hurt on the ride or anything like that. Very rarely. Like, the rides, again, don't really allow you to make mistakes, but certain things, you still have to really pay attention to. So but anyways, that's about all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the stories. If you guys want to hear more, like, different operator stories and different things like that, I have some funny stories that I could tell you guys. It's a lot of fun. But just let me know in the comments section below. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like. Join the Discord if you want to have a lot of fun discussing roller coasters, Planet Coaster, and different stuff like that. Join the Discord. Links down in the description below for all that. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, let me know in the comments what you think. And I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great day. Even cooler tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.